Was it just a faulty signal? A cross-wired frequency from a neighbor's device? Or something far more sinister attempting to speak through the static? I still don't know the answer, but what happened that night with my baby monitor has haunted me ever since. My name is Alex, and I'm a new parent. My son Leo was born just a few months ago, and like any first-time parent, I was a bundle of nerves and overwhelming love. Every gurgle, every sigh, every little movement was a miracle and a cause for constant vigilance. Our little house, a cozy two-bedroom bungalow on the edge of a quiet suburban neighborhood, felt like a sanctuary, a safe haven for our new family. We'd moved in just before Leo arrived, drawn by the good schools and the peaceful streets. It wasn't an old house by any means, built in the late 90s, but it had a comforting, lived-in feel. The nursery was my favorite room, painted a soft, pale blue with stars glowing faintly on the ceiling. I'd spent weeks setting it up, making sure every detail was perfect. And at the heart of it all was the baby monitor, a sleek, modern device with a clear picture and crisp audio. It was my lifeline, especially during those long nights when sleep felt like a distant memory. I could be in the living room watching a movie, or in the kitchen making a late-night snack, and still feel connected to Leo, a constant reassuring presence in my ear. It gave me peace of mind, a sense of control in the beautiful chaos of new parenthood. Every night the routine was the same. After Leo was fed, changed, and rocked to sleep, I'd gently lay him in his crib, turn on the monitor, and head to the living room. My wife Sarah usually joined me for a bit before we both eventually succumbed to exhaustion. The monitor would sit on the coffee table, a small window into Leo's peaceful slumber. Most nights, it was just the soft sounds of his breathing, maybe a little sniffle or a sleepy murmur. It was the sound of safety, the sound of everything being all right. But then came that Tuesday night. Sarah was out at a late work dinner, so it was just me and Leo. I'd put him down around 9 o'clock, and he'd fallen asleep almost instantly. A rare blessing. I settled onto the couch, remote in hand, ready for some uninterrupted quiet time. I had the monitor next to me, the screen showing Leo perfectly still in his crib, the audio a faint, steady hum of white noise. Around 11 o'clock, the hum started to change. It wasn't a sudden burst of static like when a signal drops. It was more subtle, a slow intensification, a thickening of the background noise. I frowned, adjusting the antenna on the monitor, thinking maybe it was just some interference from a passing car or a neighbor's Wi-Fi. But the static didn't clear. It grew deeper, almost like a low rumble beneath the usual hiss. I glanced at the screen. Leo was still asleep, oblivious. Then it happened. A sound broke through the static. It wasn't a cry, not a whimper, not anything that sounded like my baby. It was a low, distorted whisper, at first just a garbled mess of noise. I leaned closer to the monitor, my heart starting to thump a little faster. I told myself it was just a bad connection, a radio signal bleeding through. But then the whispers seemed to coalesce, seemed to form something I could almost understand. It sounded like my name, Alex, a drawn-out, raspy sound that made the hairs on my arms stand up. I froze, my eyes fixed on the monitor screen. Leo was still sleeping soundly. I picked up the monitor, turning it over, checking the battery, the connections, anything I could think of to explain it. I even walked to the nursery door and peered in through the crack. Leo was perfectly fine. The room was quiet. I went back to the couch, the monitor still clutched in my hand. The static was still there, the low rumble beneath the hiss. And then the whisper came again, clearer this time, closer. It wasn't saying my name, but it was speaking words I couldn't quite grasp. Fragmented syllables that seemed to swirl around a core of something deeply unsettling. It sounded like it was coming from inside the nursery, from the monitor itself, not just being picked up by it. I could hear a faint dragging sound too, a soft scraping that accompanied the voice, a sound that definitely wasn't Leo moving in his crib. Around 11 o'clock, the hum started to change. It wasn't a sudden burst of static like when a signal drops. It was more subtle, a slow intensification, a thickening of the background noise. I frowned, adjusting the antenna on the monitor, thinking maybe it was just some interference from a passing car or a neighbor's Wi-Fi. But the static didn't clear. It grew deeper, almost like a low rumble beneath the usual hiss. I glanced at the screen. Leo was still asleep, oblivious. The scraping sound intensified a little now, like something being pulled across the wooden floorboards in the nursery. I knew Leo was safely in his crib on the carpeted area, So what was making that sound? And the whisper seemed to be getting louder too, more insistent. I could almost make out a phrase now, something about being cold or waiting, but it was still too broken, too distorted to be certain. My heart was pounding in my chest, a cold sweat breaking out on my forehead. I wanted to run to Leo, to snatch him from his crib, but something held me, paralyzed by the sheer unnaturalness of it all. Then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. The static on the monitor returned to its normal, soft hum. The screen showed Leo still sleeping peacefully. The scraping sound was gone. The whisper was gone. The room was silent, apart from the gentle hum of the monitor itself. I sat there for a long time, staring at the device, listening to the normal sounds of Leo's breathing, trying to process what had just happened. I still use that baby monitor every single night. It's never done anything like that again. Not a single glitch, not a single whisper. I've checked for interference, asked neighbors if they've had similar issues, but there's never been a logical explanation. And yet every time I hear that faint static, I can't help but wonder if something is still there, just beyond the threshold of what I can see or hear, waiting for another opportunity to make itself known. Have you ever experienced something so inexplicable, so chilling, that it made you question everything you thought you knew about your own home, or even your own sanity? Let me know in the comments below. If you want more daily scares like this one, be sure to like this video and follow the 13 Whispers channel for more stories that will keep you up at night.